All right, hello, everyone, it's silverkyle, and today we're going to be going over my January 2024 TBR. So this is every book that I hope to finish in the month of January. I've got quite a bit here, a lot of fantasy novels, which make things a little bit longer, but it's my favorite genre, and two extremely thick chunkers. So we'll see how we go through all of this. I have 5 physical books that I have here already, and 2 that are coming out in the month of January that I will be picking up. I don't necessarily expect to read all of it, because 7 books is quite a bit, especially with all the fantasy and big books that I have. But I'm hoping to read at least 4, aiming more so for 5 or 6. So we'll see how well that goes. Let's start off with the physical books that I already have, and probably my most anticipated read for January, that being The Wheel of Time, Book 1, The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I am finally going to finish this series. I started reading it when I was 15 years old until about 18, read the first 8 books, got distracted, read some other stuff, started a few years back, maybe 6 years ago or so, read the first 4 books again, got distracted, but now I'm going to restart. And I really do feel that this incredibly big series, it's essentially 15 books, 14 in the main series, and then there's 1 smaller prequel, that you have to start from the beginning. I generally know the story because I've read it twice now, and I just loved it so much that I researched a lot of what I had already read. I have no idea how the series ends, which is awesome. I have no idea what happens book 9 and onwards. No idea. Love that. So we're going to be diving into this. I'm already about 50 pages in. And the other thing too is I really like Eye of the World. Yes, there are a lot of Lord of the Rings similarities, but that to me isn't a negative, because it's such a it's very different. There's similarities, but it's still very different. Feels like its own world, very unique, especially as we kind of go along. After book 1, it really has its own world and a different vibe completely, and its own thing. But yeah, Eye of the World, great stuff. Looking forward to finally finishing The Wheel of Time. I'm hoping to read 1 book a month, so then I would only have 3 left to read in 2025. But that seems quite a bit, and really, I only need to read 8 of them this year. So if I have other stuff that I want to read that I don't read necessarily, like let's say this month, I only read 4 books. Well, some of these books will be pushed into February. So I might have to push some things around, and Wheel of Time near the end will be one of the lesser ones, because I only need to read 8 so I could read 7 next year. So that's the plan. We'll see how well it goes. Speaking of series that I want to finish, and The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, I am finally going to finish The Lord of the Rings. I finished up The Two Towers in December, and now I'll finally finish The Return of the King. This one is 277 pages, my copy that I have, but there's also the appendices, and that is something that has interested me for quite some time, but I don't want to read all of it. So the appendices A, The Annals of the Kings and Rulers, has the Númenórean Kings, the House of Earl, and Durin's Folk. So that I definitely want to read. And I do think I want to read appendices B, The Tale of Years, for the chronology of the Westlands. I think that would be really fun, but I don't think I'll read like the family trees, the calendars, the writings and spelling, the languages and peoples of the Third Age. Oh, peoples of the Third Age would be kind of fun. Either way, let me know if you've read everything and what is worth reading from the appendices. I'm thinking that for what I want, it'll add maybe another 100 pages or so to The Return of the King. All right, the other big chunker. So the first big chunker was Wheel of Time. It's about 720 pages. And this one is very close to that. And that is The Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I've only heard good things from Mike's book reviews. I haven't even read the synopsis. I think I'm going to go into this blind, just because I've heard really good things. It has to do with a vampire, and Mike recommended it. So we're going to take a look at it. I also love this hardcover. I love the build of it. It's absolutely gorgeous. The pages are extremely thick, and we get tons of artwork throughout. And you can see it littered. Like, you can see all those darker pages. That's all artwork. Let's see if I can just get another one real quick from the beginning, so we're not okay. We're diving right into somebody right there. Nice little snack. So definitely looking forward to that. Next one here is an academia trilogy that we have called The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. Now, this is going to be, like I said, a trilogy. The second book is already out, and the third one is coming out in the month of February. Oh, and Empire of the Vampire, the sequel for that, is coming out in March, I believe. So that's another thing, too. I wanted to be kind of caught up to read the sequel if I enjoy the series, and that is called Empire of the Damned, I believe, coming out in March. This one, the third one, is coming out in the month of February, I believe. I won't be caught up by that point, but if I do enjoy the series, I'll pick up the sequel in February, and then the third one in the month of March. Kind of small, though. That's what I like about this, is like everything else is extremely big. Return of the King technically isn't, but it's Tolkien, so it takes me a lot longer to read. I love his work, but man, there's a lot of words on the page. And not exactly the language that I can read really fast either. Once again, love it, but it takes me longer. And then Atlas 6 is like less than 400 pages with a fairly big font here. So I do like that. I want something easy to read. It'll go quick. Now we've got the fifth physical copy that I have already. It's going to depend. It might end up being a February read because I want to read this one with one of my friends, but he's already got quite a few books already that he's reading at the moment. One of them being The Drift, which I recommended to him. I just said that I was really enjoying it, so he picked it up like a few days afterwards. And once he started reading it, I think he might have already finished it. I'm not sure. He was like 2/3 done the book within 2 days. So he was really enjoying it. But we want to read The Shining by Stephen King. He's read a lot more Stephen King than I have. I'm just slowly getting into King, really enjoying it so far. This is something that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. And then after this, it's Rage. And then after that, it's The Stand. The Stand is something that my aunts have talked about for so long. Everybody that I see on BookTube talking about it, arguably top 5 for Stephen King, sometimes the number 1 favorite, depending on who you're talking to. So really looking forward to that, but it just depends on when he's available to read it. Like if he's all caught up within 2 weeks, this will be bumped up over all of the other stuff so that we can read it at the same time. But if he's not, then it'll be a February read. Now I've got 2 books that are on the way for the month of January. So they're 2024 books, which is always fun. I always like reading books from the specific year. The first one being Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham. Now, I think it's All the Dangerous Things or All the Dangerous Play. I think it's All the Dangerous Things by her from last year. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Good little mystery novel. And this one has the main character called Lucy Sharp, who I believe is going to college or something. She's living on campus, makes some new friends, and then one of them disappears at the same time that one of the guys also on campus, not their building, I believe, but he dies is murdered on campus, and this other character disappears. And basically it seems as though ever since this main character met the character that disappeared, her life just goes to hell. So that seemed interesting, and I did enjoy Stacey's work from before. And then the other book is it's a James Patterson novel. I've never read a James Patterson novel, so that's just blasphemy, I feel. I'm not necessarily thinking that a 2024 novel is where to start, but that's where I'm starting with, and it's called Holmes, Marple, and Poe. What this one is that there's these 3 investigators with those names, which is kind of interesting, and it doesn't even seem like they're the main characters. They're kind of just there as well, trying to investigate things. So that's going to be interesting, I think. I have no idea how that's going to go. But those are the 2 other novels that I am planning to pick up. And because they're mystery novels, once again, kind of like the Atlas 6, they're less than 400 pages each, and quick reads. And that's what I like. I like reading some heavy stuff, definitely, like fantasy novels, but you do need a few mystery novels in between, and a really short academia book I think will help, especially because I'll start a big book, and then I'll supplement it at the same time with a smaller book. I'll finish the smaller book, and that'll help motivate me to continue on with the big book. That's generally the way that I read anyway. So that is everything. That is what I am looking at reading in the month of January. Let me know in the comments below what you're going to be reading in January. And also, if you've read Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, what did you think of the appendices? Oh my goodness. That just looks beautiful. That's incredible. Sorry, I just had to kind of place that down. It's heavy, but beautiful. Anyway, thank you all for watching. You have been bearded in. Beardage.